So when you're going to store it away, you take the pin out of the front and you just set this down in the boat, and all this line just stays connected and goes down in the boat.
That's a ball in there. So the black line is a fake forestay.
Yeah.
So now we have to.
Oh, we found that thing grew up here. Is that what we found? This on the boat, and leave it on the boat, and we're going to disconnect from right here.
Okay.
Here, not down there. That way the spool stays on the boat, which means that the roller furler line can stay on the boat. It's nice just to leave it, as much as possible, it's nice to leave the rig on the boat. That way you throw sails on it and you go flying. Okay, so today we're just going to put this back up just like she said, and re-rig everything, and later on we'll make it a little simpler.
Okay.
So, the black line is a fake forestay. So the very first thing we do is we make sure that if we're going to get rid of that black line, we have some other line
To hold up.
hold up the mast. Okay, and it looks like our main halyard is rigged. If you look at the white line in front, is rigged to hold up the mast. That way, we're pretty safe getting rid of the black line. So Jeannie, why don't we put you up in there? I think last time I did this and talked about it, so this time I'll let you guys do it. I'll still talk about it.
Thank you. All right, so Jeannie's getting in. We're going to take off
Tony, why don't you come
black.
sort out these lines so that they're not all
main
around
halyard.
everything.
to hold up the mast.
Okay, so there's a 6-to-1 right here, right? And that is putting pressure on this, right? And that goes up and over the top and to the black line. So that's the whole system. It's actually pretty simple. So if you uncleat it here, okay, and then lift it up. Okay, right there. So what we want is we want this end to go up so that the black end can come down, right? That's what we want. So what we need is a line that we can tie to this so that when it does go up, it will come back.
To this or to
Well,
this?
I would tie it to the black little loop.
Yeah.
Does the loop go through
Yeah.
the shackle? It doesn't, does it? Okay. That's a problem. Stop. Shackle back on.
Does it matter?
Doesn't matter. It wouldn't go through the little eyelet on the end, so that's why we need the shackle. So do a fancy knot.
A fancy now.
Fancy knot.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Down. So now we need a, Tony, if you could pull that black line down, or Don, the black line down, just pull it straight down.
Yeah, just pull it.
Straight down, see it? Jib's going to connect to there. You can see what we're doing, we're just exchanging the ends. So now we can put the top of the jib right on there. And you have the top of the jib right here. Right here.
Uh-huh.
So the top of the jib, Tony, I'll let you wrangle the sails.
Push pin? Yeah.
The jib's connected. And it's as simple as that. Just connect the top, connect the bottom, and then we're going to rehoist it.
Hoist the sails!
Okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to take your line off and reconnect everything that you need. The only thing you have to make sure of here is you don't let go of it, because the sail would probably pull it right on up. The sail would drop, it would go up, and you wouldn't be able to reach it. I'm not Everyone see that? It's a lot easier to pull up. You're pulling up with your back and your legs. Than it is.
Right.
Everything down here will stretch.
Will
So
stretch,
mark
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
With a
Almost
black
looks
mark.
like there is a mark on there.
I was gonna say, it
And
does
somebody
look
probably
Looks like.
Yeah.
We need them.
I have not said this, but
You see the mark already.
Right
Oh
here.
yeah, there's the mark. So that's where we want to
Where this lines up.
the jib. So
make
everything
sure
goes
to eyeball the
inside.
turning block closely, that you're pulling it through the turning block the right way.
That way?
Don says, why is he telling me that?
I know. Looking at me.
Why is he looking at me and saying that?
Like that, and then you said through the.
And then
the
through the
turn.
feet.
Yeah.
No, stopper knot.
Excellent
Favorite
stopper.
stopper knot. Make it a little knot session right here, okay? So everyone familiar with the figure 8 where you go over like this? and then underneath, and it looks like an 8,
Okay.
right? 8, and then they go in here, and that makes a stopper knot. But what I like to do is instead of going in here, go in there first, and come back out of the other hole. And what that makes is a fat little knot.
Okay, cool.
Yep, right there.
Now we're working on hoisting the boom.
I give you a little more, Jeannie?
The halyard.
Okay. Okay, bring it around my way, and put it on the back of the boom. What we're gonna do is we're gonna elevate the boom about the sailing height. Let's go to the back of the boom, front of the back, and tie it to something. Lift it up for it, Tony.
Great work. Look at that teamwork.
Yeah, remember the 2 half hitches? Yeah. Think of,
We're gonna need the knot tying class.
yeah.
Winging it.
Just, let's get a little more line here to work with. Okay. Okay. So 2 half hitches, you pick the line. Do 1 overhand loop, 1 overhand, yep, all the way through. Get her flying about that level.
Tony's putting
Put it back in the cleat.
pressure.
Yeah, right about there. We're just, okay, that's good. Yeah, we're just
Keep her hoisted.
making like the boat sailing. A dry run it here with everybody, so that, and then we'll put the boat in the water and go actually do it. If everyone remembers, the skipper is sitting here, and they have the hiking stick in their hand, right? And they're driving, right? Holding it like a microphone, right? Like a microphone. When they get ready to attack the boat, they turn their hand over, so they're holding it this way. You just rotate your hand straight down, from here to here. Okay, everyone hold their hand up. Microphone, turn your hand over, pick your elbow up, turn your hand over, just like that. Okay, the elbow always comes up to hold it like this. Okay, microphone, driving, attack, hand over. Okay, thumbs on top, right? Thumbs on top. And what I found is that it always helps to slide your hand down a ways when you get ready to attack. Don't tack them out here, because you might be sitting forward. You probably will be sitting forward, holding this at the end. That's the whole purpose of this. But when you go to tack, you can't tack here. You got to come back here. So you're going to slide your body back. And when you do that, you're going to take your hand in, thumb up top, ready to tack, but into the middle of the tiller extension. Okay, that's the easiest. So from that point, you're going to prepare to tack to your crew, right? They say ready when they've done their crew stuff, and then you say, I usually count down, but you don't have to. They say helm to lee when they're turning the boat. That way the crew knows when they're turning the boat, and they push the helm over. Okay, so this is a kind of a 3-step movement. They push the helm over, and then they move their body over, eyes forward on the horizon, head level. They cross right under here, and they take this behind their back. Okay, so I want to show you that movement just with a tiller extension. Okay, so driving like this. Okay, prepare to tack. They're going to move their hand, thumb up, rotating over, elbow up. Right now you're holding it like this when you're preparing to tack. And as you slide back in the seat, you're going to bring your hand into the middle. Okay, so when you, and now the tiller is still in the middle of the boat. You haven't pushed it yet. So when you say helm to lee, you're going to push the tiller over. When you push the tiller over, you're going to move your body over, and you're going to do this behind your back, just like that. Now this hand can take the tiller, and the tiller comes straight up, drops in like that, and that's the move. Okay, so that's the move we're going to practice. So Dina, you're up first. There's really 3 different spots for the crew to sit. They can sit up here, they can sit in the seat, or they may even be in the middle of the boat, depending on the air pressure. Because the biggest difference between this boat and a bigger boat is that in this boat, you are the ballast. Okay, in a bigger boat, it might have something lead under it that's keeping the boat stable. In a little boat, it doesn't have that. You are the ballast. So if your ballast is in the wrong spot, the boat might turn over. So if the air pressure's on this side, then you want your crew on this side. And you can always tell if you're sitting in the right spot because the boat heels the right amount. Okay, it's something you have to be active about. So if a puff comes in and you're sitting here and a puff comes in, you might move up here for the duration of the puff. Puff goes away, back in. So you're moving around a lot of these little boats. You're trying to stay in a position that makes the boat happy. Okay, so let's just assume for a second that you are up here and you're going to go through a tack, and this is your trim line because the jib's over there, right? So you're trimming and you're sailing along and you want to tack. This line has pressure on it. The first step is the helm says prepare to tack. Okay, at prepare to tack, you uncleat, right? And you take the slack out of this line. Everyone remember this from last time? Take the slack out of this line. And when you take the slack out, you put your hand down close to the cleat. You don't hold it up here with the slack out. The problem with holding up here with the slack out is when you go to cross the boat and you get over here, you can't pull on anything because you got that much line that, so you can't pull it. Whereas if your hand was here, as you were crossing the boat, you would already be pulling
Bring
on
it
it.
with you. Yeah.
Right? See the difference there? So it's important that you take the slack out and keep your hand low towards the fleet. So we're sailing along, trimming, helm says prepare to tack. 2 steps. Uncleat, take the slack out with your hand low, and then you say ready. Don't say ready until you've done those 2 steps. Okay? If I'm a skipper and I say prepare to tack and the person says they're ready and they haven't done those 2 steps, I don't tack the boat. I wait and I never remind them, hey, you gotta do your 2 steps. If it's cleated and stays cleated, then the jib gets wind on the backside and it just blows the boat over. There's very little you can do about it because the air pressure's on the wrong side of the boat. So
Everything you talk about involves the boat going over.
yeah, or
Have you
avoiding.
noticed that?
Everything I talk about is avoiding
Avoiding
the boat
that.
going over.
Right.
Okay? So prepare to tack and you uncleat. So the boom's there. So the first step is to go up and foot over. And with your foot over, you're very stable. Now you're still holding pressure on your trim line, okay? So you're still holding, you can't let that trim line go, otherwise the jib gets eased. So you're still holding pressure on your trim line. And then you bend at the waist, boom comes over. As the boat turns, the boom comes over your head. And you release your trim line and pull on your new trim line, and then you sit. And the last thing you do is you check where your jib is on trim and get it so that it's just touching the deck and cleat it. That's really all there is to shoulders or rearward, okay? So trimming. Now, while you're sailing the boat, you can look anywhere you want. It's just tacking that you need to put your shoulders rearward. What the shoulders rearward does is when you stand up and put your foot over, now with your feet spread like this, you're very stable, right? So you have balance. And then when you bend down like this, there's an open spot there for you to come through. Once the boom goes over your head, you don't have to worry about the boom, you can stand up because the air pressure is pushing it that way, right? So you don't ever have to concern about the boom blowing back into you. Once the boom crosses your head, you can stand up, and then you're gonna release your line you were trimming and pull on the line that needed to be trimmed, and then sit, and then check your trim. Feet, kick the slack, ready. They say helm's lee. When they say helm's lee, you're up, foot over. First step is foot over, head down, right? Then you're gonna release the line that you were holding and trim this line. I haven't sat yet, that's the tricky point. Trim and then sit. Sitting is actually the last thing you do, okay? You're trying to do those 5 steps and you're looking rearward and you're trying to do those 5 steps while watching your skipper cross the boat, because what you would really like to do is cross the boat with your skipper. That tells you how fast you should be doing this. In heavy air, you'd make that crossing faster, and so should your skipper. And in lighter air, you'd make the crossing slower, and so should your skipper. Okay, so you're trying to move across the boat at the same speed as your skipper's moving across the boat. So let's, there you go. And then we have a foot somewhere with a bolt rope.
Taking
right
it
there.
completely out or no?
No, it won't come completely out.
Okay.
It'll just slide out to that position.
Okay, gotcha.
Purposely, it won't come completely out. So the foot is right here, I think. Let's unfold.
On the outside of the
Out.
sheets.
Yeah, should be on the outside of the sheet. Bolt rope in. Yeah. And it helps to keep, just like Tony's doing, help the line with the slot. That's what helps it go in.
The hardest part. Yeah.
Jeannie's worked up a sweat.
Yep.
Front pin goes in.
I just put it back through the
That pin should go through that little grommet.
Okay.
And then back here.
Come back,
Gets
So back here we need to
attached
connect to that
the-
grommet with this line right here. And which means we're probably cleated at the front. Your hands on it, uncleat it, right behind you. Just lift it out
tight.
and cleat.
It's the out hole.
There you go.
So release the out hole, make everything loose, and then try to get attached to the boom.
Okay. So this probably needs to be cleaning into that line up a little bit, making it easier to go through there. But we're gonna put 2.5 hitches here. 1/2 hitch.
And don't forget our upcoming seminar with Jeminar.
Jemiah.
Jamar mamar.
A little bit more coffee would help.
Okay. What I like to do is I like to put the bolt rope from the bottom edge down here and lay it right in here, kind of like this plate. Up, just like it's gonna wait. to get the head. So now you've done two things there. One thing is that you've gone down the bolt rope and made sure the sail's not twisted, and you've got it laying right underneath where it's going to go up. So it should go up a lot cleaner now. Then if someone would hand you the main hired, look at that. We're going to tap a little bowline in the top here. Yeah, bowline. We got to do our knots. Okay.
Another plug for that
Right.
knot workshop
Right.
with Jeremiah.
Around it. Okay. Okay, let's go put her in the water. So the one thing you right now I can't move it, it won't move. But if I lift the handle up, then it moves easily. And the same thing with going outboard is it doesn't want to move until I take some pressure off the pawls with the handle. I just turn the handle a little bit, take some pressure off of it. Okay, so we'll have to take that hook off in order to get the boat in the water.
So we got a bow line. We've checked to make sure that the plug is in.
Plug it in.
Always make sure that plug's in.
And the scupper closed.
And the scupper's closed.
Okay, very good.
Where's that scupper? There it is. She's closed. We're ready to roll. So we're talking about preparing to leave the slip, the dock. And one thing we noticed is that I'm gonna need a new mark up at the top because we're missing the arrows in the back. So start thinking about how we're gonna leave the slip. And we also need to get a paddle in the boat for chickens like me.
Yeah, and the Windex.
And the Windex. Because I've only come in one time hot and one time too many.
One of the things we're going to do while we're sitting here is we're going to make sure the jib rolls and unrolls cleanly. If it doesn't, then we can fix it right here rather than trying to fix it out for it.
So getting in on the
So,
shroud area.
so one thing I want to say about getting in the boat is when you walk up to the boat, it's sitting there, it looks very stable, but you should think about it more like stepping on a skateboard than stepping into a bathtub. It's a lot more like stepping on a skateboard. From the mast forward, the boat is very unstable. It doesn't have much boat in the water at all from the mast forward. So when you step on the edge from the mast forward, she's going to roll hard, okay? From the mast backwards, she's a lot more stable. You can step right into the seat from the mast backwards. The back portion has a flat area that sits mostly on the water. It's still a little bit like a skateboard. Just approach it with some caution, okay?
Hold on.
If you're going to walk up and step on the foredeck, always put your foot in and step in the middle, like this. You don't step here, right? You step here. Put your body into the mast, okay? Your body should be at the mast. If I step over here, see how hard she rolls? And I'm not even putting my full weight there, right? She'll roll down and throw you in the water. So if you're going to step on the bow area, which you do a lot because sometimes the bow is at the dock and the boat is blown away, if you're going to step on the bow, make sure to step in the middle and go right to the mast. And then even when you go around the mast, have your feet in the middle, take your shoulders like this, and go around the mast like this, so that your body weight is still in the middle. And then you can step in the cockpit, okay? Once you're in the cockpit, a lot more stable. In the cockpit, you can kind of go wherever you want. It's just the mast forward that you have to be extra careful and more cognizant of what you expect out of that boat when you go step on it. At the bow, it's probably going to move around a lot and roll. Make sure you put your feet in the middle and keep your body weight organized.
So now we're checking the jib at the dock to make sure she unrolls. She's clean.
I'm going to roll her back up.
And we're going to use
Don't put much pressure on it at all.
rolling lines. Roll back up.
And the edges in the middle. I'm going to get this. My hand like this, and I'm just going to get the rest of our wraps. Making sure this thing will roll up all the way. One more. Okay. Around the mast like this, so that my body weight's in the middle. Once I'm in the cockpit, a lot more stable.
All right, so we got the mainsail rigged. So we've checked out the jib.
So one of the things I do with the halyard is I kind of flake it here in my hand. So I'm not coiling it. See how I'm going back and forth like this, like an S?
Release quicker.
Well, what happens is it doesn't introduce any bends to it.
Yeah.
So when I drop it,
Yeah.
it comes out like that. See that? Whereas if you coil it, every time you coil it, you've introduced one of these,
Yeah.
right? So I go back and forth. It's called a hand flake, back and forth. And that means that when I want the main down, it'll come down very smoothly. done with that, I just tuck it right in here somewhere. Okay.
Oh,
See why it needs to cleat, right? That's why it needs to be cleated down, because the board floats.
So it should go all, it'll go as far as it's gonna go?
Yeah.
Or,
This pad eye, right here, should be here. Because it should be pulling backwards, right? It's just a little far forward. If we move that to here,
or put
then it'll
another one
pull
on it maybe?
Well, that it can't go through that pad eye because
Right,
that
or
line's
just
pulling
put
forward.
should we replace it or?
No, just move it.
Take that one out?
Just move it. Just take this one out and put it right in here.
okay.
Got that?
Okay?
Got that.
Or there. But we can sail like this.
Okay. So
Rudder
ready
goes
for me
down.
to come aboard?
Let me get the rudder down. The rudder has two lines. One of them is pleated at a time. Green is for sailing, I guess, and red is for not sailing. Okay.
Hey, that makes
Now we're ready.
sense.
Let's get you on board. We'll have Tony entire bow line.
So how tippy is it? So where should I?
You're fine right there. We'll figure out where to sit.
No butt
as we
cleat,
sail.
right? This should be behind me.
Yes. Hey Tony,
Yeah?
why don't you toss that to Jeannie and she can put it right in the truck compartment. That way we can get it in and out of there pretty quickly. Just tuck it right in. Hide in the deck just like that. Tuck it right in. You can just live there. Right? You can just be there. Okay, so we're ready to leave now, right? So the wind's coming over here. So we want to sail that way first. So Tony, if you just push our bow off.
Did I have these?
There's no jib yet, so
Yeah.
but not a lot.
So you're just gonna scull us to get us out of here? Or is that
Pack us up here
Oh.
quickly.
Oh my gosh.
like we.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. He's amazing. I would be. There they go. All right, so always remember this mast is not secure once we take that jib off.
Knotted.
Yeah, right at the end of
So we have to reroute everything before taking the jib off. So right now,
Okay. So what
we
you
got
there?
the
Much.
main halyard.
Kind of not tight.
Not here. So not here.
Yep.
So this doesn't glue. We don't
It's
lose
gonna
it.
go,
That won't come out, right?
and then the main halyard is gonna get attached to the trailer. So that's gonna keep up
We can do what we have to
that
do.
good?
Yep.
the
Okay.
mast, and then we'll be able to take off.
Can you pressurize that? Speed it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Pressurize.
That's okay, good. So now we have something.
All right. So you want me to
Right.
loosen this now?
Yep.
The bow line is gonna be used as a leader.
And we're letting it out.
So,
We took our bow line. Now
so let's put this back on. So I'll show you the proper technique for doing this is to unroll it first, unfurl it first, and then drop it. Okay?
Okay.
That's the
So
proper technique. So when you unfurl, make sure to put a little tension on the
on the furler line.
furler line, little tension. And unfurl us.
Am I pulling both?
No, it doesn't matter which one you pull. Either one will get the job done.
Don't have much wind right now.
Yeah, and it's nice that they're not bang around. Okay, now pass that line out to somebody that can hold it. Tony, you ready? And now we're going to release our magic box. So we haven't taken these out yet. We need to get our
They're not.
stopper knot valve. Stopper knot valve. That way they'll have the jib power. This one's good. And that one stays.
No, I'm sorry.
Just that one.
This undo.
That one's good.
Yes.
Pick that one out. This is when we want to tie in our
Alright, so Jeannie is
this is,
undoing the halyard. Tony's
shackle
got
out.
the line. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
up
start
there.
lowering.
So make sure you don't let go of the cable.
That's the tricky maneuver right there.
Right there, that's it. And I got a free hand if you need it.
And just probably a way to do this that it's easier. I mean, mine's not quite so tricky.
You start that now.
One of the things with the shackle is, I'll actually help you do it here. You can pull down your wire. One of the things with the shackle is it's never good in this position to have a loose pin. That just gives you another thing to hold on to. The little black line's in the way. It should just go away. It has no purpose. There's a couple of details here you guys can do to make it actually easier.
It must have been used for something.
It must have been, but I have no idea. Maybe they had a bungee hooked onto it to pull up. No telling. Put this in here. This end of this line can be cleaned up. Got little details here to just make the boat easier to work with.
Bring a flame and just burn the edge or something.
Yeah, and cut it square and then burn it. Okay, now we're ready to go down. So now drop the jib straight down. Into your hand, and you got the top. So you're gonna pull that pin out of the top.
This one, right? This one.
Yeah, that's it. Push the button. Push the button. That's what makes it go.
Hold on to that.
Yeah.
This goes back in.
In the black line. So we want
This
that guy
comes to
back
this.
in the wire. Put that back on the wire.
This comes to this.
No. We're actually replacing the sail with the black line.
Black
So
line.
what you take off the sail, the black line goes back on. Okay, so the head of the sail comes out and the black line goes in the wire. Now in the wire. Okay, so we're taking the sail off and replacing what was the sail is now going to be the black line.
So just the loop, right?
Yep, just the
Because that's going to hold up the mast.
That's going to help hold up the mast along
Okay.
the main. There you go.
All right.
And I'm going to put this end on the bottom. And then you're reconnecting your rig.
Hoisting.
Okay, now you're reconnecting this to that.
This is the confusing part. It really is. I know the object of what we're doing.
But it is
However,
confusing.
Your
Yes.
shackle or your shackle there? Look it through. Make sure you get the line right there. You drop the line. Line's not even.
I know, I keep thinking they're calling you.
I know his name is Tony.
No need for line. And we need your wire in there.
You have to go take care of that crane.
A lot going on.
I need the.
I didn't know you had
going
that
on.
skill.
I wish I did. I need one to wash my window.
Got
My
it.
kitchen sink.
You
It's
got
got
it.
stuff all over it. We're on the 4th floor. Nobody will come do it.
Yes, you got it?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to have a special license apparently to go up.
Yeah, are you?
All right, now that we've got it connected again, we're going to tighten it.
Hold on, Steenie.
Oh, we may have a little
It's
issue.
fine. See, relax. I'm gonna make our line shorter. I'm gonna make the line shorter here.
Now we're going to tighten it, capture it.
Pretty snug. Keep in mind to pull it up from that block down there. It's much easier to pull. Always easier to pull from the bottom up than to pull top down.
Oh, so okay. All right, that makes sense. So the confusing part seems to be there are two lines that are supporting that main. So we have to remember to always make sure that the mast is being supported by the main halyard, and then that confusing part was the black line that's being attached to the furler is actually the
My foot just went up there and it's
jib,
so we need to
gets
get the water out.
reattached.